Alright, here's a player review for this Udyr player here, Jup. First thing I want to start out before getting into the game are the runes and masteries for this particular game. Masteries, these look fairly standard. Um, the one thing that I would criticize about these is that investing in movement speed and scaling health per level, in my opinion, is just leaving you a little bit too weak in your first early clear. Um, I I know a lot of pros do it, but a lot of pros also really know like really good kiting techniques, and B they just can rely on their teammates to help them out in the jungle a little bit. Um, Either in just my own personal preference would be to switch these movement speeds for AP, or to switch these scaling health per level to armor. I know the popular Udyr build is to take scaling health per level because you're going to rush this ZZ Rot portal, which doesn't offer health, so they get health in their runes instead of in the ZZ Rot. I can see I can see why people do that. If that's the case, I don't see the need in. I don't know. I mean, you're probably going to be able to clear just fine without either any combat runes and basically these two. But I like to have the most reliable first clear. So I would probably take AP runes here. It'll increase your first clear very significantly, and it'll basically help you out in any ganks. Um, these two these two rune choices are going to scale better into the late game. For masteries 0, 12, 18, it looks like there's pretty standard stuff here. I am not an Udyr main, so I don't know if Wanderer is the best choice, but it probably is. Um, I don't like these two on jungler particularly, but they're okay. I think another thing to invest in would be attack speed and exposed weakness. This mastery has become really popular on junglers because like every time you gank, you're basically helping guarantee the gank. I don't like these two on junglers just because it's a little bit harder to get them. And as a jungler, you're not really making like risky trades. Like more often than not, a gank you like if you succeed in a gank, you like should be full health anyway. It again, it's minor things. Um, from here, these are all pretty standard. So the resolve tree is definitely the way I would go, and these are definitely the choices I would make. So let's go ahead and get started into this game. I'm going to lock the camera on Udyr. I'm going to speed up. Okay. I like to start going refillable potion. So going refillable potion with your runes and masteries is also so you're kind of tripling down on the risk for your level 1 through 4 clear. Um, if it's something you're comfortable with, then keep doing it. As long as you're still relatively like at least 80% health after 4 or 5 camps, then you're kind of okay. But I just think all your runes and this refillable potion are kind of leaving you to just do poorly in the early game. We'll see how that goes. This is a really risky place for you to be. I know in low elo nobody really shows here, but there's no reason for you not to ward this because you could 1 game in 10, maybe 3 people are walking through this. So if you're going to be standing in the jungle, at least drop a ward somewhere to help you out. Sorry. Okay, so you're sitting here and you haven't been jumped on, but that's a risk I'm not personally willing to take. Drop a ward somewhere, please. So it looks like you're going with a little bit of level 1 cheese to steal Echo's red buff. That's kind of cute, but Echo really doesn't really need a red buff all that much. I mean, it might set you up for a triple buff start, which is really nice as Udyr, but you're super low, and getting these Krugs is super risky. I would have just walked all the way back to get your own buffs. But ultimately, you get out alive, but you have no mana, and you don't have Bear Stance. So you're going for a gank without Bear Stance. Yeah, I don't know what else you were gonna hope for in that gank. I think that gank was kind of useless because you have no PVM or you have no PvP stats because you have no bear stance, and so without a stun, all you're gonna do with Malphite is push him back, make him burn one potion, but ultimately he's got teleport, so you're not really gaining much. You're just making Vladimir force push his lane. Um, Now you're coming down, jungling this. That's fine. I would be very aware of Echo coming to you. It seems like there's not much communication between Malphite and Echo, or Echo's probably going to be going to your red. You'll notice you have an extra camp on him right now because you got 2 buffs and Krugs, and he's only gotten Gromp and blue buff. But you're the same level, level 2, both of you. He's full everything. You are not. It's hard to know that he's full because he actually backed because he doesn't know how to do his level 1 buff and he doesn't buy the right jungle item. But basically this spells you losing your red buff. Another reason you don't want to do this level 2 gank is it tells him you came from this way, so you lost your red buff. And if you lost your red buff, Echo's got another red buff right here to take. So what you should do after taking these is immediately back to be able to get to your red buff in time, full health. Just because you really gave away your plan with this invade here. It was cute. I don't think it actually amounted to anything. I think he's going to get your red buff and you won't have any advantage. I'm going to actually turn off blue vision, or turn off red vision. No. Yeah, I'm going to make it so we can't see Echo. So I kind of gave away some of their strats because I knew Echo was here, full health. Even if we didn't see him though, that's a pretty good thing to expect. So you're gonna, looks like you're gonna just full clear your top side of the jungle. You're probably gonna lose your jungle, and if you're wondering why, it's because Malphite told him he just took your red buff. If you didn't gank Malphite, Echo wouldn't have known your red buff was gone, or his red buff, and he would have passed this way instead. So he would just have not gotten his own buff, and then you would have been down here to get your own. You're still super low, and I blame a lot of that on your runes and masteries. Now that you have turtle stance, you should be in this. You should be gaining health as you clear a camp, or at least not losing as much as you are. You're probably gonna go face check an Echo right now, and you need to be aware of that. You need to know. I told Malphite that I took his red buff, so Echo's going to be here. You just need to know that, and it actually, I'm like the spectator client kind of gives it away. It looks like Echo already took your red and is now taking Krugs. You don't get to see that, but some things show up on the spectator client like this. So hopefully when you're taking Raptors, he doesn't come up and kill you. But if I'm this Echo, that's exactly what I would do. So this cute little I took Echo's red buff start is a completely even game. The CS is 17 to 9, so you have a CS lead, but the level is 3 with almost full health to 4 with you guys have about the same health. So actually you kind of have a medium advantage, but that's because he's bad and he doesn't know how to path. Meanwhile, he gets a free gank on your lane. Because he had this favorable jungle here, he got to take these jungles and then make this like awkward lane gank that like a flank. So I bet he's probably gonna kill Thresh. Okay, Vayne she played that well. You were useless during this entire shebang. You have 2 options. You can gank this for no reason. Vayne's gonna get this or she's not. She's probably gonna get it because she has red buff. You're never gonna do anything. If Vayne gets this, Caitlyn's gonna be doing nothing. So if you try to come this way, you're going to accomplish even more time wasting. You can go clear your Krugs, which you don't know were taken, or you can go clear Scuttle Crab, which would be worth taking. I would probably path to here or to here. I don't know which one I would choose. knowing, like being able to cheat with Spectator Client, I would probably take Krugs. I mean, probably just go take Scuttle, but this is not something you can help, so that you have no real reason to be here. Also, Echo's dead, so I would probably take Scuttle and then take his Gromp, or take Scuttle and then smite his Wolves and then go back to base and buy. But every time he's dead, you need to focus on counter jungling him.
That's next level.
Okay, so you check your Krugs, which Echo obviously took. The only reason we know that is because the Spectator Client doesn't give true blue side vision. But I probably would have done up here because he's dead. And every time their jungler's dead, I need to look at taking their camps, especially Udyr. So you should probably just back now for the sake of efficiency. Good. Okay, so you get Blue Smite. It's okay. Blue Smite's fine on Udyr. It really helps him get into a gank position. You can't seem to decide where to go, and that's a fatal flaw that most low, like just new junglers have, is that they're backing, they're coming back, they can't figure out where to go. Especially you, because you have no camps over here. Your only camp is up here. So, that's kind of your only option, but that leaves you in a bad spot because it'll make you basically force you to tower dive this, which you never want to do against a Malphite. So, you can take this and Scuttle Crab and then maybe gank mid, but that's kind of your only aggressive option right now, and that's kind of a bad, like, that kind of puts you in a bad spot. A third aggressive option would be to come up and just like start counter jungling again, but you have no idea where Echo is going to go, and he's probably going to come top to help out his lane. So it's just good to keep that in mind. And after having, like, unfortunately you don't get to pause in a real game, but you have to learn these things on the fly. I'd probably just take Gromp because it's there, Scuttle Crab because it's there. By the time I'm taking Scuttle, I bet you Echo will have ganked this, or he'll just have backed, because he hasn't backed yet. He's basically still on one item. Yeah, so Echo skipped all camps and just went straight to top. He's probably not going to succeed with this gank, though, because Vlad has flash. Now knowing that Echo's top, you have no real business counter ganking this, because you're going to get there way too late. Echo's probably going to come back and get his Krugs, or Echo's going to come an aggressive route down the jungle, or down the river. You can meet him in the river and 1v1 him, because he's going to be weaker than you. That might be a good bet. Oh, so Vlad still died. That's interesting. You should just take Scuttle. If it's up, you should always take it. You don't really, like, you might be trying to aggressively gank this, and that's fine, but she's so far back, if you do anything, she doesn't have any way to get to you. She can ult to about here, but this aggressive gank might have been fine if LeBlanc was willing to leave these two freaking caster minions to die to the turret. But as it is now, you're just going to end up wasting time trying to gank mid. I think this ward is silly. You get the same information if you place the ward here, but you actually get access to people coming in and out of this brush. So if you take this ward and place it up around here, you get the same information of the raptor camp, but you actually get information of people coming in and out of this brush, which is important because a lot of people will just path straight up here, and this ward is actually going to miss all of them. So this ward's kind of silly. Another silly thing about this ward is you took their red buff, so you know when it's spawning. And it's actually, this ward's going to time out by the time the red buff spawns. So I think this ward being placed here would have covered this entrance to this brush, and then this ward wouldn't have been needed at all. Or what you could have done is placed this ward here, you kind of get access to this side of the red buff, then you could have gone around and placed another ward here, or here, which would have gained access to the other side of red buff. You would have got way more overall vision, and you would have still seen Udyr, or Echo at the red buff. Right now you're going to get collapsed on. Echo just had a successful gank top. You should have predicted he went to his Krugs. We get cheat with this, like we can see this in the spectator client, but like you should still just kind of know intuitively. After jungler ganks, he's gonna farm, and his best farm option is top lane. So you're gonna get collapsed on. Echo's about 5 seconds behind where I would like him to be, so ultimately you're actually not going to get collapsed on. But if I was this Echo, I would have already been here. So if that's the case, Talon should just jump on you, apply his slow with his rake. Echo will then jump on you, and then you would have died. But I think you're probably just going to get out of this safely. But it's too much of a risk in my personal opinion. Take the scuttle now that you're here. Okay, this is a good counter gank. Oh god damn it. Okay, I have to reload the spectator, so just bear with me. I'm not gonna stop recording because it'll I don't have it in a video editing. It's just gonna directly output it as an FLV. So just bear with me, maybe skip ahead about 2 or 3 minutes in YouTube until it loads the game again. Okay. So we're at about 7 minutes. Okay. So you're about to come and get this counter gank. You're taking scuttle right now. I want just blue side. Okay, so you see him. This is definitely a counter gank, and it's a good counter gank. Echo placed this really well that you have no way of getting through. I think yeah, I don't know. I think Echo placed this really well, and then he's gonna clip the edge of it while you two clip the edge of it. Honestly, Echo just played this counter gank really well, so that he ends up stunning you guys. I don't think there's much you could have done to avoid getting stunned here. He played this super well. I'm impressed with him. Looks like you're gonna go and take his red, but his red isn't gonna spawn for like at least 6 or 7 more seconds, so you might get the jump on him. It's still not a bad idea to be here because you know Malphite is low. So I think as long as you make sure your Vladimir is aware of you being here, I don't think I would start this buff without knowing where Echo is. If I would start this buff, I would definitely pull all 3 creeps back into this brush here. You standing here is just an opportunity for Echo in this brush to throw out his W and then E onto you after it pops and then kill you. So if you're making this risky play, you should be back here in the brush. Being in the brush gives you vision of both entrances to kill you. And so like if he's coming this way, you can flash down and run away. If he's coming this way, you can just run away. You're being exposed for no real benefit of being exposed. Ultimately, you get away with it. It looks like Echo backed after that, which was dumb because he didn't really have anything to gain. Taking these is pretty safe because their mid lane is almost dead. So taking these, anytime that their laner is almost dead, it's safe to counter jungle. And then ultimately, Malphite is making a fatal mistake by trying to fight you with no backup. So he's gonna have to burn ult. Malphite shouldn't have been there. Fighting him was very reasonable because you saw Talon be super low. And then their support Morgana is going to 1v1 a level 7 Vladimir. If Vladimir's any good, he'll just tower dive her. That's not something you should worry about. Um, you successfully got this counter jungling. Both the red buff is super risky. Taking Raptors was not. The reason red buff is super risky was just because Echo. That's like something he should be looking to get, and he should know that it's up after this gank. So I think red buff was risky. Now that you've cycled around to take these, I think that's reasonable. So it looks like you're just going to take blue and then probably go for a mid lane gank after taking this blue because Talon just came back with a fresh health bar. The fact that you're backing now means you missed out on this gank. I think you should have gone mid. If nothing but to just get the assist. You should be going straight to your red buff. You should skip Wraiths and go straight to your red buff. Or at least get a ward on red buff right here. Echo just killed your ADC. Okay, you got a ward. Again, I think these wards are such freaking waste. At least get vision in and out of a brush. So this ward here gives you the exact same information, but it gives you the other side of the brush as well. So, but it's a good thing that you warded it before you came over, but it's just slight inefficiencies that are going to add up over the length of this game. Right now, your score of 0-0-0 and this low of a elo game is kind of, it's just kind of low. He's got more of a realistic jungler score for a low elo game because there's almost always somebody overextending, and in this game, it's Talon who's the one who's overextending. Vayne seems to be fine getting kills all on her own. So counter jungling is a good option when your ADC is winning so hard and your top is winning so hard. Counter jungling seems like the best option, but you should still find time to weave in ganks against their mid laner because he's overextending medium hard. He's overextending. Your LeBlanc seems to be really skilled. You're only 7 CS up on Echo, but Echo's probably been taxing top lane. If I look at the gold, he's got 4 kills. 4,100 gold, 3,100 gold. So those 4 kills are worth 1,200 gold. So you're actually only up 100 gold worth of creeps on him, which means you're not counter jungling enough, or you're not ganking enough. And in this game, I would say it's more that you just haven't ganked anything at all. You're going here for this counter gank, but the gank's kind of fizzling out. You're coming in. He sees you now. He is probably going to just go up to Echo and be safe. If he's dumb and tries to come up here, then you could kill him. Okay, so he didn't even see you. That flash was good. You should have stunned him way sooner. He wouldn't have gotten off so much burst on LeBlanc if you had stunned him way sooner. I think he really kind of screwed the pooch on that. God, freaking... It always sucks to get counter ganked by a Malphite level 6, like teleport countered. There's not a lot you can do against stopping a level 6 Malphite from teleporting on top of you and killing you. I think what I would have done, I think that you screwed up the first half of that gank, which costed the double kill. It's kind of hard to predict exactly what you should have done. I want to look at it a little bit more closely. I think that was at like 10 or like 9:30. Sorry, I've never had the spectator client crash twice. It's really frustrating. Not sure why. It keeps crashing. This seems like somewhat close. There's probably one more J. Oh, I missed it. Okay, so here's the gank. I'm gonna go on halftime. You're gonna flash onto him. You should have stunned him. So what happens is he's gonna... He blew flash, that's what happened. And then you're trying to fight this when you're not in turret. As soon as that was a 3v1, you should have just ran. They didn't have any lockup on you, so I think you probably could have gotten out safely in bear stance, especially with these boots. So she died because of a good counter gank by the teleport. You died because you just didn't disengage from the fight as soon as possible, and I think you would have lived if you just had run out this way in bear stance. You need to be pinging your bot lane. That Echo's down here. He's low, but he's got ult, so he's not that low actually. Echo can just drop a nice parallel convergence on them. So I'm going to speed up. Standard build with Aether Wisp. Your option now is to just farm this. He just opened up this whole half of the map for you to counter jungle. So this map here, these two jungles should be yours. This one should still be a big priority because dragons around here. What I would do with basically this particular situation right now, top lane, you're never going to really successfully kill Malphite because he's building MR and you're going with an AP damage as well. So let Vladimir just continue to split push this. He's got a favorable matchup. He's got freaking 40 CS up on him. So ignore top. Yes, it's open, so you can use this open lane to just farm this. But what I would focus on is this dragon here, which means you need to get a good gank on bot lane. And even if you have to force a gank on bot lane, it's worth it if you get dragon after forcing the gank. Especially because you can depend on this Vayne so strongly. I would force this gank down here. So probably get Scuttle Crab control and then force a gank. Another reason to go for dragon right now is Malphite doesn't have teleport. Instead, you're going to just waste time and go farm your wolves, which is the absolute worst idea. This is such an inefficient path right now. Echo stepping on a ward. Talon just stepped on a ward. You know that there's 4 people in the bot lane. At least, yeah. So, what I really think you should have done was stayed in the bot lane to be there during this gank. It looks like your mid and top were able to do something with it. So your secondary option is what you did, which was counter jungle and take this turret 1v0. So you didn't make the best decision, but I think it was like a solid B decision, where like the A+ decision would have been position near bottom before Echo ever got there. But this isn't terrible. Yeah, you should have noticed that. That just means you were not looking at the mini-map. So, you should see LeBlanc. So you're sitting here whacking on the turret. There's no reason for you to be looking at this part of the map. You should be looking down here at the mini-map. You should see LeBlanc coming up, so you might as well peel down with her. Especially when Talon shows. Go hit him. Go hit him. Like, this just tells me you weren't paying any attention. You gave him a free escape from that. If you had instead hit him here, he couldn't E to you because you're right in front of him. And yeah, there's no excuse for that. You just were not looking at your own minimap, and your guys are going to get killed by Malphite again because he seems to be in the right position at the right time. He's going to lose this now. No? Freaking Malphite doing Malphite things. He just tanked 7 hits. It's kind of funny. Not a lot you could have done against that, other than correctly just looked at the minimap, seeing LeBlanc pathing up, and knowing I have a safe escape with LeBlanc. And then you should have seen her flash, and then you should have joined her in this feast. So I hate to say it, but on your team, you're currently the weakest link. I think you're making the worst decisions. And and your commitment to fights seems to be lackluster. Whereas the Blanc and Vayne seem to be really easily committed to fights, so I would be joining their bloodthirst rather than kind of pussyfooting around. This is cute. She deserves to die. He doesn't have ult, so this is a safe fight to take for them. While they're doing all this stuff, you should be here. You should be providing her cover. Not direct cover, because you're going to lose this 2v2. Okay, like I said, not direct cover, because you're going to lose this 2v2. You should just be providing her cover. So you badly gauged that 2v2 matchup, and that's something you need to not do. You need to learn the strengths of your champion. You need to learn the strengths of Talon, who just hit his Maw of Malordius, and LeBlanc, who's got a Morello Nomicon. So in this matchup, Maw of Malordius beats Morello Nomicon every day, and you need to know that. And you need to know that your Runic Echoes is weaker than all of their items. So what I would have done was helped them in this 2v2, like helped her just by like showing, but not actually engaging. So far you've made, the first death was kind of not anything you could have done. I think, well, I did say you should have peeled off of that fight, but honestly that first death was more just Malphite making a good play. Your second death was you not aggressively capitalizing on Talon's misposition, which you should have done. And then this third death was you overcommitting to a 2v2 that was not favorable, because Talon has a bigger item spike than LeBlanc does. So now, every time you clear your buffs, you need to decide, what am I going to do next? From here to... So from Wraiths, what are you going to do next? She's taking your blue, so you don't really have any business going up here. I keep... Every time that the client restarts... Okay, so she's going to blue, you have no business being here. Bot lane is pushed. This looks like a good gank opportunity to finally take this tower. This lane, he's overcommitting to, which tells me there's a gank coming. If he's leaving the minion wave this far, that tells me there's a gank coming, but you're a good 25 or 30 seconds away from there. So you can either defend this turret that he's going to push into the turret. I think that's a mediocre option, like a C-. I think coming down here would be the best option. And these are decisions you need to make every time you clear a buff. Okay, so you're just counter jungling, which is fine. You're doing what Udyr is allowed to do, which is counter jungle all game. Echo just showed top, which means you need to go either dive bottom or you need to take wolves. Looks like you're doing indecision things. You did neither. You just wasted 10 seconds. Now you stepped on a ward. Don't dive this unless there's a wave there. Now go. This 2v1 you're going to lose. So you're probably going to die. Caitlyn doesn't really have any items. But honestly, you didn't really help them in that. I mean, they got the tower, which is nice. But the indecision you had kind of contributed to not accomplishing much. So... And then Malphite's bottom. So when Malphite is bottom, you basically don't really need to be there. Backing is the right decision. Looks like you're going for Iceborne Gauntlet next, which is a pretty good second buy. Against their team, Iceborne Gauntlet's not that good. Let me kind of point out why not. I'd probably just go right for ZZ Rot. He's got a dash. She's got a dash. He doesn't really matter. He's got a dash. She's got a spell shield. So overall, your ability to stick to these targets is pretty low. That's why I'd probably just go for ZZ Rot. Another benefit of ZZ Rot is he's got really low ability to clear ZZ Rot portal because he's a tank. He's not building any AD, and it counts as a structure, so you can't use spells on it. So I'd probably just go Z0 at second. You should be here to counter gank this, which it looks like you're doing. Don't step on that ult. Good. Okay. You played that well. Echo's really freaking fast. Okay, you didn't get the kill, but you were in the right place. That was the right decision. You're just so far behind that you weren't able to burst him. He's just way ahead of you and Adams. He's got another Aether Wisp. Okay, they're way overstaying their welcome bottom. I don't think you can do much to stop them. So going up here is fine. You're probably going to be able to push this into the turret, and then you're going to have to leave the turret, but you can like push this into the turret and then counter engage. Unfortunately, they're going to get 2 towers from this, and you guys are not even going to get 1. But since you overcommitted to chasing Echo up here, that was kind of your only option. I would not smite that. It's a waste of smite, especially when you have a combat smite. You're going to want that smite to be able to run away from them if they collapse on you. So they're overstaying bottom. They have no business taking this. LeBlanc can safely clear this wave. So the fact that they overstayed means you did get good access at chipping this turret. But also because they have double teleport on their team, you were unfortunately not able to take it. You staying up here was not overstaying. You staying up here was probably the right decision based on them overstaying. This should be your gank to make. It's a 3v1. He's gonna have to blow ult. You should have used sweeper after he ulted. But it looks like he doesn't even have ult, so that's actually that was a fine gank. Somehow LeBlanc got snared, but
Get the fuck out of my face.
yeah, so that was an okay gank to make. The biggest problem with that gank is just your lack of ability to actually do anything. You're only level 11, which is, I guess, medium. Like, your level is fine. It's an average level for this point in the game, but your items are so low that unfortunately you just can't burst anyone when you're ganking them because you just, I think, in my opinion, had a low impact early game. So that good decision to gank wasn't accompanied with items. Their decision to tower dive this is done. Okay, so you're kind of in a stressful situation here. Their Echo has a huge impact on the game because his pathing is efficient. I might even consider you watching this replay from his perspective and watch the pathing that he's doing because he's not ganking, he's not taking advantage of your team being terribly out of position. He's just pathing correctly so that he's able to capitalize on the slightest misstep. Whereas I think your pathing is overly focused on doing nothing. You should be down here with your team. If you got caught here, you would have died. If you get caught in this brush, you're gonna die. Okay. You didn't really need to help them in this. Oh, you do. There's an Echo. So Echo's dead.
I'm just so good at this game. Really?
Okay.
Really?
Their team overstayed, and you guys were able to benefit from that. That's not really something that you guys did particularly amazingly. It was just their team overstayed. This should be something that you need to send, like, somebody. LeBlanc should go get this immediately. LeBlanc's too low to stay here at Dragon. She doesn't need to be here. You're gonna lose a tower, and it's mostly LeBlanc should have been the one to go stop this. I think pinging this is the right idea because you're gonna at least force them to path this way. I don't think you're gonna be able to take it though. If you kill Caitlyn, then you can take the turret. Yeah. Okay, that was fine. So now you guys can take this turret. If she overcommits as well, which it looks like. Yeah, don't chase him. Don't chase him into the corridor. Your goal is this turret, not these kills. These kills don't mean anything anymore at this point in the game. You just need to continue to gain map pressure. So ultimately, because Caitlyn overextended, you guys were able to trade this turret for their turret. You paid with it with 2 deaths. That's mostly Vayne and Thresh just overstaying. You did the right thing, which was to run away. So sometimes you're making good decisions. Sometimes you're making good decisions, but you can't really benefit from them because you were too far behind. In that case, I think it was a good decision. Vayne and Thresh were just dumb. He's dead. He's overextended. Wow. This is fun. You've got a really long death timer, so I'm just gonna... Okay, you guys, they got ace, so you just need to defend this. That should be your priority. He's overextended. That's cute. Okay. Now that you guys basically... So you've turned the tables. I would be focusing on getting Baron right now. Not right now. What I would focus on is getting vision around here for the next 10 seconds, and then when Vladimir's up, he can join you at Baron, and you guys will get Baron before Talon and Caitlyn. And Talon and Caitlyn are basically all of their damage, because for them to stop you from Baron, they've got 1 tank, 1 mage who's not really that, like, yeah, he's ahead, but Echo's damage is low unless his single target damage is high, but his AoE damage is low. So basically what I'm saying is you should be posturing for Baron, in my opinion. Unfortunately, you don't really have the bottom side lane pressure to do it because of this fight way up here going kind of sour towards the end of the fight. But with the double pick, with 2 kills, I would focus on getting vision around Baron. Now you have a triple pick, so getting Baron is even that much easier. You guys could probably... Okay, Vayne's retarded. I hate it when ADCs do this in low elo games. She has a ton of kills. You guys can push down Baron. Just you and she could basically 2-man Baron right now in about 15 seconds. She's being retarded, and she's not converting her gold into something useful. She's got a ton of gold. She's got a ton of items. Like, this is a pretty significant amount of items. She needs to be up here. You're doing the right thing, which is pinging for Baron, but you need to know that you and LeBlanc can't take it. You need an AD carry with you to take the Baron. This frustrates me really badly. Vladimir can pick this up before it gets to the base, so she's being super... It's not even greedy, she's just being stupid, because obviously the more greedy thing would be to take Baron. You shouldn't have done that. You can never take Baron with your mid laner unless your mid laner's like Cassiopeia. So she screwed that up. That's her fault. Nothing you can do. It's just what low elo ADCs do. You're overcommitting to this. He's gonna die. He's probably gonna ult one of you guys, but he's gonna die. So that was nothing really, like, I think you engaging on Echo was aggressive, but you probably had a good feeling about Caitlyn, so that's fine. Now you're split pushing. That's a good decision. They can handle this 4v4. Your team has enough disengage in the form of Threshbox and his pool. I think you guys will be able to get away, so I think split pushing is a good idea here. Now, the one thing that split pushing does is it splits their team up and allows you to take other objectives. The one thing that split pushing doesn't is basically, like, you shouldn't be hero moding. This is good. She shouldn't have been the one to stop you, so she's dead. Kill the turret, not her. The turret does more damage than her. I mean, yeah. As a split pusher, you need to decide who are they sending to stop me, and can I kill them? And because they're stupid and they sent their AD carry to stop you, then that was the right thing, which was to kill her. Now that Malphite's coming, you just need to run. You don't really know how much CDR he has. He has 0 CDR. If he had max CDR, then he'd be able to ult you right now and kill you. So after taking this, you should have just ran. Also because you need to get back here ASAP so that they don't get an inhibitor from this. So the right call was made to kill Caitlyn. The wrong call was made to stay. You wasted 20 seconds where you could have been here within those 20 seconds and that probably stopped this, if not at least gotten this kill. Now that you're killing their Echo who's overstaying, you need to take Baron with Vayne. You need to get more vision around here. Vayne needs to go there immediately. Don't get baited by this dragon timer, just go take Baron. Anytime you kill their jungler, Baron is yours for the taking. So while Bane's pathing, you guys can take this. Tower diving it is kind of bad. You're going to lose a lot of health that you need against Baron. She's dumb. God, I You're too far up. If you know Vayne is coming, she's your salvation in this fight, just kind of kite the fight back to her. You don't need a 1v3 or 2v3 with Vladimir. Your team's decision to take this dragon was completely retarded. Without any jungler to secure it, nothing you can do to stop them, but I wish that they hadn't. So I should have thrown his lantern farther out. Okay, so your decision now, what do? Take this farm is a good decision. You now have ZZ Rot, so you need to place it. I would probably place it here or here. But you need to place ZZ Rot as soon as you possibly can so that it's actually useful. I would have probably gone up to place ZZ Rot before coming mid. You also have... Okay, Oracle Lens is fine, especially because your Thresh is stupid and doesn't have the right trinket. But you need to know that they're doing Baron, because their options are take Baron. That's hilarious. Their options are take Baron or take the inhib, and because they're not taking the inhib, you need to know that they're taking Baron. I think if you had gotten your team to stop that Baron, especially with Echo being, like, Echo got executed by Baron, I think you would have been able to win the fight. But instead you decided to push this a little bit too much. You still haven't dropped ZZ Rot, by the way. And you're overcommitting to killing Caitlyn. You had nothing to gain from killing Caitlyn and everything to lose. You're probably going to get out because it's Udyr, and he's just fast as crap. But I don't like that. Your team's going to pay the price of that overstay. LeBlanc just died for you instead of you dying. She'll be able to win this 1v1. Vayne will out 1v1 anyone in the game by this point in the game. He doesn't have Thornmill. He's dead. Yeah, your team has a really bad habit of overstaying. Okay, they have Baron, so you need to just focus on cleaning up side waves so that they can't push giant side waves like this. This mid lane cuteness is not really important to you. You're probably gonna die here. You still haven't placed ZZ Rot. You bought it about 2.5 minutes ago now. If you had placed ZZ Rot up here, this lane would have been in their base by now. This is a really big risk. If they send someone with Baron buff down here, your base is dead. You need to clear this before they get to it. As a split pusher, that's kind of your job. Let your team be retarded in this mid fest, because basically what this says is they're going to get this inhibitor for free because they killed you, and they're going to get this tower for free because this wave is huge. If they're smart and send somebody with Baron buff down there, which they're apparently not smart to do. But you guys are going to really lose this fight. Malphite didn't ult Vayne though, so you might have a chance. Oh, Vayne got some lucky crits there with only rapid fire cannon. Okay, Okay, so if you win this game, it's because of those crits right there. Literally, like if she didn't hit those crits in succession, um, you would have lost the game. If I was their team, I would have had Talon come down to just to buff this wave, and if he had done that, they would have got 2 inhibs. What they did was a typical bronze or silver thing, which was take the inhib and then fight for no reason. At that point, they're not fighting over anything. She's overcommitting. She had no business being there. That's a free easy kill to clean up. If I were you now, I would just split push this lane all the way up. You're going to be split pushing 1v maximum of 2. I would split push it to here and then drop ZZ Rot and then join my team. It's been about 5 minutes since you bought ZZ Rot now. Don't build ZZ Rot just because the pros do it unless you know how to like use it. And it's like, it's not that hard of an item to use. You just push it, down somewhere on the map. Preferably in a side lane brush like this. But I would have placed ZZ Rot. You're going to get collapsed on by 3, but you're Udyr, so you're fast. But now that you brought them top, your ZZ Rod isn't going to be useful top, and maybe you can get this flank mid. Looks like you are. Not until Vladimir gets killed though, so you get the flank, but Vladimir dies. I don't think it was entirely worth. Okay, that's something I just want to point out. This happens all the freaking time. So you're gonna kill him because you deserve to. He killed your Vladimir. She's gonna Zanya's. You and Thresh don't need to be here. You need to be up here killing Caitlyn. This is a free kill for her. Who cares if you get the kill or if you only get the assist? At this point in the game, it doesn't frickin' matter. You need to be up here killing Caitlyn. Thresh needs to be up here with his Deadman's Plate, also killing Caitlyn. What happens is you three just kind of cluster around her as if she's going to magically escape from this Zonia's, which she's not. So you need to be killing Caitlyn. Let this die. Okay, drop your ZZ Rod here. Good. And then just leave. You don't need to be here anymore. ZZ Rod's going to do all the work. You need to be here with Vayne. You need to be down here picking up that nice third stack, which Udyr loves so much because 5% move speed is ridiculous on him. I think your build path is okay, but it lacks HP. You only have 1 HP item, which is Spirit Visage. I think by this time, by having 5 items, you should have, like, this is your end game build. You have all of your item slots are filled. I think one of these, like Iceborne or Thornmail, should have been like Deadman's Plate because it has HP, and I think you need a little bit more HP in this build. Barely having 3,000 isn't really enough in my opinion. So you're basically just skirmishing continuously, which is kind of to be expected. Someone needs to notice this. These 2 supers are going to take this turret down if someone doesn't go back. LeBlanc found it. You don't need 5 people to get this though. You're cutting off this wave. So you need to ping the rest of your team that they don't need to go back unless they want to. I'd probably have these 2 go back because they're low. But then you guys can stay. You can stay. You can run to a side lane. This lane is gigantic. You can crash this lane into their base. Your ZZ Rod's going to come up in about a minute. So you might as well just be out here, farm these jungles, put your ZZ Rod down on the bottom here, or put your ZZ Rod up here. 5 of you don't need to go catch this, because this is only 1 wave. There's no wave in this middle because you guys killed it. You so far have killed 2 waves. This is just the wave that you didn't kill. you don't need everyone to go take it. You should be like, okay, I'm a split pusher. I'm Udyr. I can be in the side lanes. I can split push all game. So I'm going to just go split push this stuff. What you're doing instead is you backed and you didn't even buy... Okay, you didn't have enough to buy a potion. You should have upgraded your boots though. You had the 450 for that, I think. I don't know. Baron's up soon. Had you been down here, this would have been all the way up in their base. And you'd be in a much better position to get Baron. But because it's here, and it's a smaller wave, you just didn't really help prime your Baron take. Why did you not clear that? So place your ZZ Rot back here. Place it back here. Clear this wave with your Phoenix stance. And then when ZZ Rot's ticking up here, oh, it's got like 10 seconds on it, which kind of sucks. But while it's ticking right here, you'll have the opportunity to take Baron. You can also place it up here or up here, which will kind of draw one of them farther back from Baron. But you need to use your ZZ Rot to basically gain Baron pressure. Okay, that's an okay place to push it, but if that's there, you have no business being up here. ZZ Rot will auto push a lane. You don't need to be in the lane that ZZ Rot is in because it'll push itself. And actually, you being in the lane is just going to draw attention to them, which is going to draw attention to your portal, which is going to get it killed. You're probably going to get this turret though because none of them are backing. This is a risky call to make though, because it's a 5v4. If your team wins the fight, it's basically just because the bronze gods love you. If your team loses the fight, it's because they kind of deserved to, because it was a 5v4. So you're trading this tower for 3 of your teammates, but they lost 3 of their teammates in exchange because the bronze gods love you. Caitlyn died before she even got to ult, so you got lucky in that fight. I think you have every right to keep staying here now. You know that 2 of them are in your base, so you have every right to continue the split push. So your inhib's gone. You traded an inhib for at least a tower. So this is a worthwhile trade. Morgana just died, but he's about to die. But you can probably take this one too. You've still got 7 casters, 6 casters. And as soon as you take this, just run. Yeah, that's a worthwhile trade though. And you're probably going to get out. Nope. That's a worthwhile trade though. This opens your base wide open. And now you guys can Baron for free all game long. As long as your team can handle it for 60 seconds, which they should be able to, you get Baron for free with this. One thing I don't like on jungle split pushers is like if they do something like you just did, which in my opinion was the right move, the jungler still dies and Baron's kind of wide open. But I doubt that their team will be able to pull off Baron in the next 40 seconds. Yeah, and you're fast as crap, so you'll be able to get there really quickly. Just speed up until you're alive. Okay, they got Baron while you're dead. Because your team wasn't punishing like any positioning. But the win condition is still, in my opinion, in your favor. Baron helps them push, but they don't really have anything to push because like half of your base is already down. So what you need to do is basically just bait a team fight here and basically just kill them. Where were you during all of this? You just lost your 2 most important carries. You're trying to 1v1 Caitlyn, which is fine. But Caitlyn's not even their team's biggest threat. She's only got 4 items. She's only got 3 items. I think that you would have been much better spent just peeling against Talon. Because Talon has all of their gold. Talon's at full build. Or almost full build. You know, he's got once rated Dirk. But I think you should have recognized that Caitlyn is kind of a medium threat. Talon was a high threat. But I think that you can defend these 2 turrets by yourself, especially with the ZZ Rot portal. So, The Blanc is lucky as crap. Their Thresh is so bad. I haven't seen him hit a real good hook this entire game. Okay, you just need to run away from Talon. He can kill you. Just take Dragon and then push up the side lane. Fourth Dragon is really nice. Actually, fourth Dragon's kind of useless at this point because they don't have any base turrets, so they don't have anything worth diving. It's kind of just nice to get because bronze games and silver games stall out so long. But I think that bottom lane should be something that you're focusing on. So right after getting Dragon, don't back, just go right to bottom lane. Go right to bottom lane. That lane is huge. Okay, so you don't have any business in this 2v1. If you die here, they win. That was a really, really aggressive play that wasn't useful. Again, Caitlyn doesn't have a whole lot of gold. She's not a real big threat. And she's obviously not going to be clearing blue buffs on her own. So you would have been much better with just pushing that tower. You probably could have taken that tower with that huge wave that crashed into it. I'm going to speed up a little bit, see when this game finally ends. So you're basically just forcing a play mid, but they're pulling 3 to your 2. Now it's a 3v3, so you might consider re-engaging, but Talon disengages because he knows it's a 3v3. You're engaging a 1v3. They were pretty far back, but you're kind of lucky that you ended up hitting the minion instead of him. Get out of that parallel, good. Okay, if you kill Talon in this, if you kill Talon in this fight, you guys win. Okay, so you guys win the game now. Oh no, that wasn't Talon, that was Echo. But if you kill Talon, you guys win. Which means you guys win. So overall, this game honestly came to one team fight at the end of the game.
Oh my god.
And that happens a lot. You guys were not winning at all during this game, you were behind the entire freaking game. But you have a better late game kind of like scenario because Udyr can split push in the late game and because Echo kind of falls off in the late game. I would have liked to see this game end a lot sooner. I think your early game was probably not your strongest, but you were kind of held up by the strengths of your champion, which Udyr just has a really good late game because he can split push, and so you did that well. You played that split push late game strong. You were smart in continuing your push here. If you hadn't taken these 2 turrets, they would have been up. So like I think that mid-late game taking of these 2 turrets was what won you the game. It continued to help your win condition of split push because basically what opening up their base does is it guarantees that one bad play on their team's behalf wins you the game, and that's kind of what happened right here. This team fight you guys won, mostly because Echo got killed early, and then you were able to clean up the fight from there, and then you had an open base to kill. Had you not killed these earlier, you would have just gotten these 2 turrets down, and then they'd all be alive to stop you. So basically, I think that even though your early game was weak, your split pushing was strong, and your use of Z0 portal eventually became strong. I just think it took you like 6 minutes to realize you had the item. Overall, congratulations on this win. It was honestly a toss-up. Had Vayne died in that fight early, then you guys would have lost the fight. I don't like it when games end on a toss-up, but at the same time, I just like a win no matter how I get it. So I bet you feel the same. As a jungler, you want to be able to gain a stronger lead. And I think maybe the first 20 minutes of this video would be good things to look at. I think your level one was, or not your level one, but I think your early game, the laning phase, the ganking phase was definitely not the strongest. But it's something to work on, and with such a strong understanding of split pushing and late game, I think once you fix that early game, you'll be able to game the snowball and then continue to press the snowball, which is something that many people um, struggle with. So your strengths are there. Hopefully you can patch up the weaknesses, and hopefully you can